And welcome to this video. In a previous video, we created a serverless backend on AWS using CDK for Terraform. In this video, we're going to kind of build on top of that. We're going to change a few things. So firstly, what we need is essentially, what I want to do in this video is essentially creating a CRUD application. And in the previous video, we just created a hello world. And there are some changes that we need to do, and yeah, so let's get into it and we see how it works. But in this video, we create a CRUD application. We have a database, DynamoDB, where we process data. We have a Lambda function which reacts based on the HTTP events that it receives, and also we are going to have an API gateway, and we are going to secure our API gateway using API key, which is really important to not just kind of open your API to anyone. So let's get into it. So I cloned the repository from the previous video and ran npm install and also npm run get. These are the commands that you find in the help file, which are really useful. So yeah, when you run the npm get, it just creates this directory where it pulls down all dependencies which you can use. All right, so let's go to the main file, NTS. Also, in the previous video, we had the API Gateway version 2, which is the WebSockets API, which we don't need actually when you're in our use case. Maybe you would need it, but I just want a REST API in this for this demonstration. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. And when you run the npm install and npm run get, you should be able to continue along. And yeah, as you can see, most parts are pretty much fine. We have our Lambda function. We have our role, which is, I think we can pull it down a bit because yeah, I think it makes sense to kind of have a bit more kind of concise. And cohesion is, I think, also important for understandability of the code. So firstly, we have our Lambda asset. That's fine. Also, this portion is also fine. One thing that we need to add is that at this point, whenever you change something in your Lambda function, Terraform doesn't get it. CDK for Terraform doesn't know what is changed. So we need to add a hash. You need to add something to the hash attribute, source hash attribute, so that based on the files hash, Terraform know that it was changed. So that is the one thing that we need to change. That is fine. Also, I have my Lambda execution role. I think I just add something so that it's unique and doesn't collide with the other one. So I have my Lambda function role, basic execution role, and I'm assuming this security token service, and also I have added this basic execution role, and as you know, as we said, we are going to want a DynamoDB, so I also need a DynamoDB role. So that looks good. I want the DynamoDB full access. DynamoDB full access, that is good. And then, yeah, so that looks good also as well. Then after this, I'm going to add my DynamoDB, and so I think the name is unique. Everything is good. Yeah, so I also add a DynamoDB here. DB, or just yeah, I think DB is fine, equals new DynamoDB. I need to import it, so I think it is imported, but I think that is Dynamo table. That looks good. So let's see what it gives us our Copilot. So that is the name of the database. I don't care about this stuff. What I care about is, as I don't want to pay a lot for my DynamoDB, I just pay as request per request, so that I can have the serverless kind of method. Also, you can add the read capacity and write capacity, so that if you're doing a production use case. So, and I have my hash key, which is my ID, and I have the attribute. Also, I think it's attribute. Yeah. I also add the name and the ID and the type of it. I think that looks just fine for me. I don't want to add a lot of complex stuff. And I have my Lambda function. Here I'm going to also add the source hash that we added previously. Hash. So that is also something that I'm going to add. You can, of course, as you can see, there are timeout and stuff. You can configure a lot of things here, which I don't need at this point. What I do need, however, is I need to pass in the name of my table and also the index as environment variable. I prefer to do it as environment variable. So I just add this variables, DB name, and yeah, not exactly this, but I just I think this I call it just table name. That db.name, and the other one is also the primary key. So that is also fine. Okay, so that looks good. Okay. Control Shift F. Not this one, but okay. All right, so that looks good. Then I have my API. So I need, as we discussed, I need the yeah. So let's see. I need the REST API. I think that is it. Yes, and the protocol type is not your name equals name. I don't think that is really correct. So I just add, yeah, that looks good. Then I have the target is also not, you don't do it this way. So that is, name is going to be all everything that I'm going to define here. Then I have my Lambda permissions. That looks also good. Let's pull. Now that's good, but yeah, so I have my Lambda permissions. But before that, we need to do actually a couple of stuff, as it turns out. So we need to add the resources, so the path on our API. We also need to add the HTTP methods and attach them to our Lambda. And also, we also need to define a usage plan and add a key to that usage plan, so that we can kind of secure our API. But for that, we need to also deploy our API. So there are a couple of things that I'm going to do real quick. I try to do it as quickly as possible. So const resource equals, I don't think that it is this way, so I think it is gateway resource, not exactly this, but it is okay. So so I think it is, firstly I need to rest. So what API gateway resource, so the name is fine. Okay. So I think it is REST intelligence. That's at the GitHub Copilot. So then I need the HTTP methods that I want. So I want post, delete, get, and put HTTP methods. So I'm just going to add all of them real quick. So post API, because yeah, that looks good. No, so don't worry about this authorization thing. So I just need to add the ID. So I'm going to paste the REST part in so that we can save some time. So we added the post API. Then we are going to need get, put, and delete. So I'm going to just paste them in so that we can save some time. All right. So these are the HTTP verbs that we needed. Then we need to add the integrations so that we can map them to our Lambda function. I just have one. I want to have only one Lambda function, and I want the Lambda function to decide based on the HTTP method what to do. So that's what we are going to do right now. So then I just say, and also one important point with CDK for Terraform is that when you define a variable and you don't use it, you are going to get an error. So keep that in mind. If you don't need a variable, if you don't need to initialize something, if you don't need a variable, just initialize it and don't use the const keywords and so on. So I'm just going to say API gateway integration. So that looks good. I'd say again, these are some of the things that you need to correct it, but this also the type is, so that looks good. We need to just amend some stuff. So first is that this is, as you know by now, this is the API REST API ID, and I need the API.id, and the resources I think could be also resource ID, and I need the .id here, and the HTTP method is good. I'm mapping this to this one, to that method that I defined earlier. But this integration method, as it turns out, must be always post. So to keep that in mind, if you don't do this, you are going to get 500 errors and so on. You can read it, but apparently this is how AWS maps the events to Lambda function. But our method is going to be this one. Don't worry about that. So you get your delete, post, put, and get methods. This is just for integration. So HTTP methods, which I'm going to actually copy and paste. If you know a better way, please post in the comments. I will be very happy. And of course, everyone else could also use it. So I'm going to just paste it to save some time, but it's exactly the same, only with the correct API methods, right? So I think I have a bit of a mistake, right? So integration 1, integration 2 is, so I just use this one to I say get API, and then the post, and then the delete API, and also then the put API. That looks good. And after this, we need exactly this Lambda permission. But I'm going to use the depends on keyword, so that I can tell Terraform that this resource is dependent on the other one. And so that, because Terraform is mostly just parallelizes this workflow, sometimes you need to tell it how what resources depend on another one. So that looks also good. So I just say const and permission. Okay, so I just do that, and I also want to say that my Lambda function is dependent on my API. So depends on API. Okay, so that is the one thing. Then the next one is that I need to create a deployment for my API. So we created the API. So assuming that you have tested and everything, now we can deploy it. So I just say okay. So this is my deployment. Again, there are some things that my Copilot is doing wrong, but it's fine. So okay, so first is the ID. And also the stage and also deployment ID. I think there are a couple of things. I just call it CRUD. That doesn't matter that much. You can use the stage name that you want. I just say, I think, so no, I think that is it actually. But I also add the depends on keyword here. Then that is fine. I don't need the domain. I also need an API stage. Again, the same, pretty much the same game. Sorry, I don't think that I need the stage name here. So we add it here. Okay, stage name. Then I have the API. Depends on. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. And then deployment ID, I believe that should also be deployment ID. Okay, so that looks good. Then after this, we are going to add our API key and usage plan. So what I'm going to do now is just API key equals yes. So no, it's not exactly what I needed, right? So that is one thing that I need, but I don't think that it's these ones. So name, I just call it some random name, and yeah, just let's make it random, and also enabled equals true. Okay, then the next one. Then after this, I need to add a usage plan. So I just call usage equals usage plan. Looks good. API stages. API key. Depends on API key, and it's good. So let's see. Sorry, as it turns out, you don't add the API key here. We add it later on. And also I want to add some throttling for my throttle settings. That's good, that is enough. So I also want to limit the burst and rate limit, add burst and rate limit to my API. And also add depends on to not API key but to usage plan. Not here, but sorry. Sorry. I'm very sorry. It was correct. The API key. Then I add the. Then I think that's it. Then we are going to bring everything together and add the API key plan. Then usage plan key. New API gateway. So all right. So that's good. Key ID. Let's see. Okay. So that is also correct. So I'm just going to need to hurry a bit. So then the output, I also want to output my API stage URL so that I can test. Okay, that looks good. I think you can also add output your API key if you want it, but I'm not going to do that at this point. But I'm treat it as sensitive and then do everything else. So I also need to do some stuff for my Lambda function before I can deploy it. So firstly, I need to create a proper, I want to create a package.json so that I can package my application. So that the benefit of this type is that you can change, you can package your Lambda function into zip file and kind of create it, make it immutable before you change it. Yeah, and the benefit of this way, I mean, before having to package it, is that you could edit it inline, which is what I don't really want. I'm also going to quickly copy and paste the Lambda function that I had in my other done in my other reviews, so that I can save some time for us. So I just go to my source folder and I'm going to run npm install, and yeah, as you can see, I added these things. I also think I can add a tsconfig file so that it basically includes the TS file and the kind of go on with the extensions. But as you can see, I just go to take the event and get the HTTP method from my event and the behavior and do the behavior accordingly. So that is it. So now let's do stf apply and see what it does. Okay, because I'm in my correct for wrong directory. Now let's see. So it takes a bit of time, and also it kind of synthesizes and see what resources are going to be needed. And so, okay. I think this is exactly the problem. So I change it to DB. Let's see then what is, if there's any other problems. So this also the GitHub Copilot is also not really completely mature, so you need to kind of be able to go in and see what parts are missing or what parts are misconfigured. So it looks good. I just say yes.